Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 will take us to the 25th of February, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe run around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. Gets us into towards the middle of March actually now. And I should get that back for you in a moment. Just say that first. Video 6 MBQ weather forecast. We've also released a weekend forecast and the EC42 data. You can check out all of today's videos and content. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. For Gals Weather, thank you so much everyone. Love it. Thank you so much. Right, let's start off with the latest we're about from earthnullschool.net. Here we go, then. We've still got a blocking area of high pressure dominating to the north and to the east, and we're still bringing in these pretty cold sort of east-southeast winds. Milder air is awaiting in the wings in the Atlantic with these areas of low pressure and weather systems, and those milder winds will be with us next week. Check out Weekend Forecast if you want to know what's happening. Hint, by this time next week, we could be seeing a temperature of 16 degrees. That's 61 Fahrenheit. Goodness gracious me. Blimey. Well, central temperature is currently sitting at 4.2. That's 0.4 of a degree above the 61 to 99 average. It's provisional to yesterday, to the 14th of February, to Valentine's Day. That is probably going to hover around there for the next couple of days. Might even tick down a little bit more. I've got a couple of cold nights to come on Sunday night and again on Monday night probably. But then next week, that will really rocket upwards as we bring up those very mild winds from the Azores and the Canary Islands. These are GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Next couple of weeks, we're at London today. Red line is the 30-year upper air temperature actual London, starting off around average at the moment. But the trend next week is an upwards one, becoming very, if not exceptionally mild, with a temperature later next week. Gradual decline as we go through the closing days of February into March, but only back close to average precipitation-wise. A lot of dry weather to come over the next week, but by next weekend, London will be much wetter further northwest, though. Around Thursday, Friday next week, very wet in the north and west. From next weekend onwards, through the closing days of February into the start of March, actually looking quite unsettled. So eventually, we're probably going to see spells of rain in all areas. Temperature anomalies. Next 5 days, looking colder than average from the north and the east, nearer normal further west. If we look at 6 to 10 day temperature anomaly, though, then it's much milder. Some places going to be like 5-6 degrees above average. Gracious. And the 10 to 14 day temperature anomaly stays mild but begins to come down a little bit as we head into the start of March. Precipitation anomalies for the next 7 days, about average in many areas, a bit drier than average in the far north and southeast, wetter than average for Ireland. In the 4 to 10 day time frame, it becomes wetter than average in western areas. And if we look at the 8 to 14 day precipitation anomaly, many areas that are coming out slightly wetter than normal. Right, let's start going through the chart data then. Miss LH UK Met Euro run. Let's look in for midnight on Tuesday. Still quite a chilly southerly southeasterly flow, but that will switcheroo to a southwesterly through next week, so becoming increasingly mild with spells of rain in the north and the west, exceptionally mild potentially by next weekend. Icon is all much of a muchness. You'll notice that all of the wobbling and chopping and changing and variability within the model output has gone now. The models are all singing from the same hymn sheet, which is a much milder one for next week. It's interesting that when it's cold, the models are wobbling all over the place. But when it's mild, a mild outlook, you know, all the models converge and are rock solid. And that's just something that has always happened. So it's due to a synoptic pattern, of course. But synoptic pattern that brings cold weather is an unusual one. The synoptic pattern that brings mild weather is typically not that unusual. The models can handle it quite well. That's how we end up with Icon by next weekend and still looking mild. Okay, let's go through to KMA, see what that one's doing. So once again, in most southwesterly winds through the second half next week, looking very mild, but potentially a bit wet and windy, especially so into the north and the west. maybe into something a little bit cooler there by the very end of February. That's 27. Bit of a mid-Atlantic ridge trying to get going. Trough sinking southwards. Hold on. Sorry, everyone, a trough sinking southwards. That might be a hint of something a little bit colder, or cooler anyway, into the start of March. Before then, though, very mild. And we've got GFS midnight run. Looking like that. So, once again, dragging in that long fetch southwest wind with the air from the Canary Islands through the end of the week and into the weekend. That carries on up to day 10. After that, bit of ridging, trying to get going. So, towards the end of February, that's becoming a bit drier, a little bit cooler. But overall, it's a mild outlook. Everything's driving in from the Atlantic. It's all west-southwesterlies. And you know, at least it will be mild into the start of March. And GFS V2, by comparison, once again, with those southwesterly winds dominating the weather through the week and into the weekend. That's next Sunday. Another low pressure out to the west, bringing gales into the west and some heavy rain, but at least it will be mild. And then beyond that, well, that's a bit stormy there with that low around day 10. That's the 25th of February. By the 26th. That's pushing through. It will bring a lot of heavy rain with it, possibly some gale force winds, but it would be mild. Eventually, a bit of a hint of some cold zonality with the GFS V2. So by the start of March, perhaps a bit colder, but very unsettled, very cyclonic with spells of rain. Probably cold enough for snow on high ground in the north. That's a long way off, of course. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Make sure to show everyone for doing that. Why not drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos, content, live streams, etc, etc. Don't forget to tell your friends about Gals One, get them to subscribe to. So doing that, 60 subscribers gets us to 19.6k, so it could give us a sub. But be awesome! Thanks so much, everyone. GM, again, looking a bit cool still on Tuesday, but through next week the trend is a milder one, becoming very, if not exceptionally mild by the end of next week. This is midnight next Saturday. Check this out. The air is actually originating from North Africa there, or you can follow the isobars back to North Africa. Anyway, that's the kind of thing that might deposit a little bit of Saharan dust on the car windscreens and whatnot. Obviously, it's not going to be that warm because it's still February, but even so, that could well lift the temperature into mid-teens Celsius. If it was like midsummer, you might be thinking about, I don't know, 40 degrees again. Beyond that, you know, it looks generally quite settled. High pressure's over to the east country. Winds all the time coming from a southerly direction, looking mostly dry, therefore, and very mild with the gem. And then the ECM looks like this. So once more, a bit chilly on Tuesday and on Wednesday, but then we're into those mild, on Tuesday, milder on Wednesday, and then we're into those very mild southwesterly winds through the end of the week as well. You get up towards day 10 and beyond it. Perhaps a bit into something cooler, similar to what was it? GFS VI, but KMA as well. Looking a little bit cooler there, perhaps in the closing days of February, but generally still high pressure south, low pressure north. That broad setup not changing with the ECM. This is a precipitation forecast based on the ECM run from CFS.com. So, there's going to be some rain and snow coming into the north through the early part of next week. Then we're into those milder southwesterly winds. Rain mostly in the north and the west. Little bits and pieces could get through to southeast, but not a lot. So, it could be a very wet pattern, though, for like Western Scotland, Northern Ireland, Southwestern Scotland, Northwestern England, those sort of areas. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensemble today for day 10. We have a Icelandic Met off this. Gets us to the 25th of February. 21 members of the ECM Ensembles with high pressure to the south and the east, low pressure to the north and west. And so we're drawing up that southwest wind, looking very mild. 21, high pressure again to the south and the east, low pressure to the north and the west. Up comes that mild southwesterly. And we've got 9 here. Perhaps a little bit more unsettled, but still mild. Wind coming in from west. All options looking mild then at day 10. In 2 weeks' time, this is the option that we've got. a bit more interesting. It's the 2nd of March, so 51 out of 51 members of the ECM ensemble showing a high pressure building to the north and to the northeast. That looks a bit like a Scandinavian high, I have to say. Winds going toward an easterly direction, with low pressure being blocked out into the Atlantic. Not sure how that compares to that, quite honestly. But anyway, they're the options that they've got. Or that's the option that they've got for 2nd of March. Right, let's just go through the CFS V2 and then we're done. So these are 500 millibar heights on. So I broke it down into week periods. First week period takes us from the 15th through the 21st of February. But next week sees the blocking area of high pressure weakening. Heights are rising across southern Europe and with low pressure in the Atlantic. We're dragging the wind back into a southwesterly. Week 2, looking very mild. It's the 22nd, 28th of February. High pressure to the east, low pressure to the west. Up comes that southerly wind. And week 3 will be the 1st and 7th of March. High pressure generally over and to the east of the country and being supported by the Azores. So all looking quite mild, I think, with the wind direction there. And then finally, week 4 is going to be the 8th to the 14th of March with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and up comes that southwest wind. Very mild first half of March is likely. Could be unsettled in the north, but reasonably dry actually down in the south. Not a bad outlook for first half of March here, I don't think. Right, we're done. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much, everyone, for doing that. Why not drop a comment let us know what you think about this and all of our videos, content, live streams, etc., etc. Don't forget to tell your friends about gas, where we get to subscribe to. Thanks so everyone for doing that. Tomorrow, we're going to have a 6 AM UK weather forecast. We'll have our final spring update ahead of the spring forecast being released a week tomorrow on the 23rd of February, and we'll also be live at 6 PM. We attend a 14th day. I think we'll include some long range in that one as well from the Copernicus suite. Well, you enjoy the rest of your Saturday, but for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.